My father always used to say, all you need is 3 squares and a roof over your head. They were very simple people. And I think work ethic is the most important thing. And I think I tried to teach that to my own children. My father owned a grocery store on the west side. I started working when I was 8 years old in his grocery store. I invented Instacart. I was the first person to deliver groceries into people's homes when I was 12 years old and with my wagon. And I used to go all over the west side within 5 blocks of our store and deliver groceries to people's house. I should get some credit for Instacart. I was involved a lot with politics. I was the first 18-year-old to register to vote. I was involved in a lot of political campaigns when I was a young kid, 16, 17 years old. I would go door to door for candidates with literature. I helped out at the time Mayor Sedita, who was a friend of my father's. I was the youngest member of the Erie County Democratic Executive Committee at 18, and I went to work out of college for the Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Stanley Steingut. And I worked in Albany, and I used to go back and forth. I started out building low-income housing. There was a program in the city where we would build single-family homes that were subsidized by the state, and we would build a house for $70,000. There would be a $20,000 subsidy on it, so people would buy them for $50,000. I had to go to the state of New York, and they gave me a $1 million interest-only loan if I would build the first building downtown, because there was such uncertainty and the banks were afraid to take the risk. And then we started building neighborhoods. We would put restaurants on a block so that we can build a neighborhood. People would pay more money for rent if they were living in a neighborhood than in an isolated building. Every Saturday, I used to meet Tony with his tour group, and he used to have a megaphone, and he used to talk about downtown. Now, when would you ever see the mayor doing that? But Tony was convinced that it was important to develop housing downtown. The most important project that I did was the Hotel Lafayette. My father shined shoes there during the Depression. So we went from shining shoes to owning in one generation. And I still have the shoe shine brush from the Lafayette as a remembrance of where you came from and where you are now. And I think that's important to everybody in their life. And I think that's what the Italian Center does, especially the history part of the museum. It shows you where we all came from. You know, I knew we needed a building, and I talked to Dr. Giacobbe. I said, look, there's a building that's available, the old library, and I think we can get it real cheap. He's relentless. He's like a dog with a bone. He will never give it up. So once he got the building, he sort of committed me to making sure that it got done. And that was part of my job, was to make sure that the construction of the building happened. And without all the help from so many people, it wasn't just me, it was probably 30, 40 different little contractors. They couldn't afford to do the whole project themselves, but one guy can afford to put in sidewalks. One guy can afford to do painting. One guy can afford to do carpentry. We thought of our grandfathers and fathers, and we knew how important this would be to them, that we would be able to tell their story. And that's what it's all about, is telling our story. What we want to instill in the younger generation is that all of the people that are coming to this country right now from south of the United States, whether it's Guatemala, Venezuela, Mexico, they were just like we were 2 generations ago. to accept it, to welcome these people, to help these people. Because that's what people did for us. They helped us. And I think we owe it to those immigrants that are coming into this country. Look, I don't care if they're legal or illegal. There were plenty of Italians that came into this country illegally. There were so many that changed their name because they came into this country illegally. We didn't all get here illegally. Let's welcome the next group that are coming into this country. And that's the best thing that anybody in this generation can do. My legacy is to have my grandchildren be more successful than me, just like my father wanted me to be more successful than him. And I want my grandchildren to be the best educated and to be the most successful and the happiest, because happiness is really the most important thing. And that's what I want my legacy to be.